Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the FM 664 virtual public hearing. We appreciate your interest in the FM 664 project and welcome each of you. Please note you may pause this presentation at any point to allow more time to view the slides. Given the unique circumstance of the COVID-19 outbreak, along with our commitment to protecting public health during this national emergency, TxDOT is conducting this virtual public hearing to minimize in-person contact. Additionally, TxDOT is providing an in-person option for individuals who would like to participate in person instead of online. Attendees at the in-person option will be able to view the same presentation delivered in the virtual online public hearing, review hard copies of project materials, and leave written comments. The in-person option will be held on Tuesday, July 14, 2020, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. and 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. Attendance at the in-person option will be by appointment only. Individuals wishing to attend the in-person option may call 214-716-4577 Monday through Friday between the hours of 8:30 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. to make an appointment and receive further instructions regarding the in-person option. These details can also be found in the supplemental public notice which is posted on the project website. This presentation will cover the same information the Dallas District would have shared at an in-person public hearing. For health and safety reasons, we encourage the public to view the project materials displayed online to avoid in-person contact. Details on how to submit a comment and have your questions addressed will be covered later on in this presentation. All project information can be found on the TxDOT website. This virtual public hearing has been convened by the Texas Department of Transportation and is being held to receive and consider comments from the public regarding the FM 664 project. You may have attended previous public hearings conducted by the Texas Department of Transportation. However, for the benefit of those of you who have never attended one, I would like to explain why and how the department conducts a public hearing. A public hearing has four essential purposes. 1. Inform the public of the status of planning for the project and present the recommendations based on studies performed to date. 2. Describe the project so those attending can determine the project's potential to affect their lives and property. 3. Provide the public an opportunity to see information and express their views at this stage in the planning process, when flexibility to respond to comments still exists and before location and design decisions are finalized. 4. And finally, to develop a record of public views and participation to accompany recommendations for subsequent decisions. This virtual public hearing is being held in compliance with both federal and state laws. A transcript of this hearing will be made available for the official record. Following this virtual public hearing, the department will proceed with the preparation of the final environmental documentation. Your statements and comments will be addressed in this document and will be given full consideration in the preparation of the final recommendation and design for the FM 664 project. Comments will be accepted in a number of ways. You may fill out a comment online, submit a written comment via email to nelson.underwood@txdot.gov, submit a written comment via mail to TxDOT Dallas District Office, Attention Nelson Underwood, PE, 4777 East Highway 80, Mesquite, Texas, 75150, or leave a verbal comment via voicemail at 469-547-7164. There is a link for a PDF comment form that can be filled out on the computer and emailed to the address provided, or printed, filled out by hand, and then mailed to the address provided. Comments must be received or postmarked by July 29, 2020 to be part of the official virtual public hearing record. Questions on this project may be directed to the TxDOT Project Manager, Nelson Underwood, PE, at nelson.underwood@txdot.gov. I will now explain the design aspects of the FM 664 project. The design schematic and environmental documentation for the FM 664 project may be viewed at www.keepitmovingdallas.com under Public Hearings/Meetings, at www.txdot.gov by searching Hearings and Meetings Schedule, or on www.keepitmovingdallas.com/FM664. The information on these websites is the same information being presented in this speech. TxDOT is proposing to widen an approximate 8.08-mile-long section of FM 664 in Ellis County. Other improvements would include eliminating 3 90-degree turns along FM 664 between FM 1387 and Marshall Road. The proposed project is needed because the existing FM 664 within the project limits fails to meet current safety design standards, has hazardous 90-degree turns, and is inadequate to meet current and future traffic volumes, resulting in congestion and reduced mobility. The purpose of the proposed project is to reduce traffic congestion on the existing roadways, to improve operations of the roadway, to increase mobility, including pedestrian and bicycle accommodations, and add capacity. The existing FM 664 facility between US 287 and Waxahachie and Westmoreland Road in Ovilla, Texas, mostly consists of 2 undivided 11-foot wide lanes and 3-foot wide shoulders with an existing right-of-way width that varies between 80 and 100 feet. There is an existing bridge over Red Oak Creek, and there are ditches along both sides of the roadway to provide surface drainage, as well as culverts crossing along the existing roadway at multiple locations. Stormwater runoff within the limits is conveyed through an open ditch drainage system. The facility is intersected by 4 major collectors, including Marshall Road, Bob White Road, FM 1387, and Shiloh Road, along with other minor collectors and local roads. The proposed project would include the expansion of the current 2-lane rural roadway to a 4-lane urban roadway, ultimate 6 lanes, with a raised median to provide additional capacity and improve safety. The proposed right-of-way varies from 137 to 225 feet. Improvements would consist of 12-foot wide travel lanes, 14-foot wide outside shared use lanes, and 6-foot sidewalks with Americans with Disabilities Act curb ramps in both directions. Other improvements would include eliminating 90-degree turns along FM 664 between FM 1387 and Marshall Road. The proposed project would require approximately 87.18 acres of additional right-of-way and 0.61 acres of permanent drainage easements. Utility adjustments and relocations throughout the corridor would be required prior to construction. The adjustments and relocation of any utilities would be managed so that no substantial interruptions would occur. The FM 664 project is anticipated to be ready to let by 2023 and will take approximately 3 years to construct. Letting is when TxDOT notifies the construction community that a project is ready to be bid on. Construction on a project begins after the letting process is complete. The total estimated cost for the entire project is approximately $110 million. The project is currently unfunded and cannot let until funding is identified. This concludes the project information and design portion of the presentation. The next few slides will provide an overview of the environmental evaluation for the proposed FM 664 project. Prior to December 16, 2014, the Federal Highway Administration, or FHWA, reviewed and approved documents prepared under the National Environmental Policy Act, known as NEPA. However, on December 16, 2014, The Texas Department of Transportation assumed responsibility from FHWA through a Memorandum of Understanding to review and approve certain assigned NEPA environmental documents. This Memorandum of Understanding between TxDOT and FHWA was updated on December 9, 2019. The review and approval process applies to this project. Environmental studies were conducted for the proposed FM 664 project to support an environmental clearance in accordance with NEPA. These environmental analyses are necessary to identify, avoid, and minimize effects of human and natural environments. Technical environmental documentation and the draft environmental assessment, or EA, was approved for further processing by TxDOT and was coordinated with other public agencies. Notices for this public hearing were advertised in the Dallas Morning News, Al Dia, and Waxahachie Daily Light, on the TxDOT.gov website under Hearings and Meetings Schedule, and on keepitmovingdallas.com under Public Hearings and Meetings. The TxDOT Public Information Office also prepared a news media release to advertise the public hearing. The TxDOT technical reports and draft EA are available at TxDOT Ellis County Area Office and online at www.keepitmovingdallas.com/FM664 and TxDOT.gov. The technical documentation for this project addresses the potential environmental impacts identified during the preliminary engineering of the proposed project. These areas of potential impacts included natural, social, and cultural resources. This slide shows a list of all resources that were evaluated during the environmental analysis. The following slides include a summary of those findings. A total of approximately 87.18 acres of new right-of-way and 0.61 acres of permanent drainage easements would be required to complete the proposed improvements. Right-of-way would be acquired from properties along both the east and west side of the project. Potentially one residential and one non-residential structure will be displaced. All right-of-way acquisition would be completed in accordance with the Uniform Relocation Assistance and Real Property Acquisition Policies Act of 1970 as amended. Brochures titled The Purchase of Right-of-Way and Relocation Assistance are available on our website at Keep It Moving Dallas. These materials contain detailed information to inform you of your rights and provide information about the TxDOT right-of-way acquisition process. The proposed project would impact publicly owned Heritage Park, which is a property protected under Section 4F of the Department of Transportation Act of 1966 and Chapter 26 of the Parks and Wildlife Code. Heritage Park is an approximately 3.3-acre park located on the west side of FM 664 between Main Street to the north and Red Oak Creek to the south in the city of Ovilla. The park consists of a pavilion, public restrooms, picnic area, concrete trail, and a parking area. The improvements are proposed to be constructed at the southernmost edge of the park. Approximately 0.15 acre, 4.5% of right-of-way would be required to accommodate the widening. TxDOT is considering a Section 4F de minimis impact determination for impacts to Heritage Park. A Section 4F de minimis finding means that the proposed project would not adversely affect the activities, features, or attributes that qualify the park for protection under Section 4F. TxDOT historians evaluated 41 historic age structures constructed prior to 1978 and found that they did not meet eligibility criteria for listing on the National Register of Historic Places. An intensive archaeological study concluded that the project will have no effect on archaeological historic properties. No further work is recommended at this time. A majority of the project area is outside FEMA-designated 100-year flood hazard areas. The only flood hazard area is associated with Red Oak Creek. The hydraulic design for this project would be in accordance with current TxDOT policies. The proposed project would result in the permanent fill of approximately 0.24 acres of streams associated with waters of the U.S. Regulated activities would be authorized under Clean Water Act, Section 404, Nationwide Permit 14, with pre-construction notification to the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. Compensatory mitigation would also be required. One site was determined to be a moderate environmental risk to the proposed project. The site, Ovilla Market, is adjacent to and south of FM 664 near the Main Street intersection. Right-of-way acquisition is proposed from this site along FM 664. Any unanticipated hazardous material impacts encountered during project construction and the site already discovered shall be addressed in accordance with regulatory requirements and TxDOT standard specifications. A traffic noise analysis was conducted in accordance with TxDOT's FHWA-approved 2011 guidelines for analysis and abatement of roadway traffic noise. Based on the analysis, 4 receptors are expected to be impacted by noise. Noise abatement options were considered for these receptors in accordance with TxDOT and FHWA criteria. It was determined that noise barriers would not be feasible and reasonable for the 4 impacted receivers and therefore are not proposed for incorporation into the project. Based on the studies thus far, the environmental investigations indicate that the proposed project would have no significant impacts on the quality of the human environment. Revisions may be made to the environmental documents to either update them or address the needs of the state and federal agencies. Revisions may also result from considerations of public comments received during the comment period. After all necessary revisions are provided, an environmental assessment determination is anticipated for this project. The public comment period for the proposed project ends July 29, 2020. Following this virtual public hearing, documentation of this public hearing will be reviewed by TxDOT for final environmental clearance and design approval. If there are no major issues arising from this hearing that cannot be addressed in a reasonable timeframe, final environmental clearance is expected by summer 2020. The project has an anticipated ready-to-let date of 2023. The project is anticipated to be open to traffic by 2026. This concludes the environmental evaluation portion of the presentation. As mentioned earlier, comments will be accepted in 4 ways, which are outlined on this slide. All comments will be fully considered and responded to in the project record and made part of the final environmental document for this proposed project. This document will then be made available for public review online at www.keepitmovingdallas.com under Upcoming Public Hearing/Meeting and www.txdot.gov by searching Hearings and Meetings Schedule. All of your statements, comments, and questions will be given careful consideration before final design features are determined. Additionally, all information developed for the proposed design is available for public inspection and copying at www.keepitmovingdallas.com under Upcoming Public Hearing/Meeting or on www.txdot.gov by searching Hearings and Meetings Schedule. As a reminder, all comments must be received or postmarked by July 29, 2020. Ladies and gentlemen, we sincerely appreciate your attendance and interest concerning the proposed design of the FM 664 project. Your questions, comments, and concerns will receive careful consideration. Thank you. This concludes the formal presentation. We are now adjourned.